Welcome back to another episode of, well, actually not another episode, a new, a new idea or program rather. Instead of me doing biking and blabbing, we're gonna do something a little different this week. I love to draw, as I talked about a couple weeks ago about the chalk festival, but like actually drawing is what I do, sketching and whatnot. So I figured, since this is a channel, you guys don't always want to see biking and blabbing episodes. I needed some other idea, for what other content I could create. And this is one of the things I thought of, where I sort of cycle around a little, do like a little introduction, and then stop and draw, and then after the drawing is done, cycle back and do some outro type stuff. For these, I think it's mostly just going to be sketching with just a pencil. I'm not really going to do many colors, although if I do, it'll be one or two. And I don't really have any I have an idea for today's piece, but I don't really have any solid ideas. I'd rather let the piece just go where it's supposed to, because when I do that, I seem to come up with really interesting ideas. And I just let the pencil do what it's supposed to do, which is sort of the point of art, is to not really have a clear vision of what I want to do. Of course, I've done some pieces where that's the case. Also, possibly in future episodes, I might cycle around and show you some of the pieces that are colored. But for now, just go back over here, because I had to sort of pick a good drawing spot, and I think I found one. And it's going to be like right over here. And let me just get out the materials here. I have this folder that I've used, which I got a sheet of paper in. I didn't really bring two pieces of paper because I want to just let the art do its thing, as I've explained before. And then I've got a pad of paper instead of a what do you call it? Just a pad of paper to sort of draw on, instead of a clipboard. Geez, that was the word I was trying to think of, but I just couldn't think of. And I think what I'm also going to do later on is actually go get a sketchbook that is just for art for this channel, and see how well I do there. So yeah, let's just get started here. Try to clip this on, and actually clip it on evenly done person, because this is just an idea. So this is how you can tell this is my first episode doing this, because I've sort of not really worked all this stuff out very well. Also, I just want to say to all those people, I hope everybody's doing well during the virus. And I know I haven't talked about it in a couple at all in here, but I really wanted to let people know I hope they're doing okay. So yeah, let's get started. Somebody I really thought was talented, Mr. John Prine, passed away the other day, and so I wanted to, I had this sort of idea of a tree, because his last album was entitled The Tree of Forgiveness. I had sort of more of an idea with where I was going to take that, but I'm not really going to do the entire idea I had, because like I said, I want the piece to go places that I didn't really expect. Ooh, it's windy. Just hold this like this. I don't know why I let that branch do that, but I did. I'm going to try to apply the Happy Accidents Bob Ross perspective here, and see where that kind of takes me. I mentioned to somebody on someone I was talking to a couple months ago, that one of the reasons that Bob Ross really sort of, even though he's a painter, he's really helped me understand how art is done. Not understand, but like sort of accept certain things that I've done within my work. I used to be very sort of, that's not correct, that's not right, and in some ways I still am, but for this piece, oh my god, I don't even know how far I'm gonna make it here. I haven't necessarily done that. Backing up, so this wind will just go away. Who knows, I might cut this drawing short because of the conditions I'm drawing in. I don't really want to. That might be what happens. I want this channel to sort of, these episodes to sort of show I am a good artist even though I'm still just using pencil. I think as a kid I did art wrong. I was so concerned with color, and I think I should have done it the other way, which was be concerned with form, because as I've gotten older, my sense of form and shading has definitely improved and changed. And I wish I wasn't so naive, but I just was so in love with color back in the day. And that's a good thing, but also a bad thing at the same time, because when you're so in love with color, you often forget about form. And I never really liked black and white pieces when I was younger. I only liked colored art. That's changed now, of course. Because if I didn't like black and white pieces, I wouldn't be drawing in black and white. I've reached this weird sort of midlife, even though I'm only 26, kind of crisis stage where I really like sketching. I'm just sort of shading this tree in, but I'm not really concerned about branches and whatnot. I was going to put the branches in after, but I'm being careful as to how dark I shade the tree. I've never really shaded a tree this way before. I'm sort of making it circular. This is where I've come so far. What I've done. I guess I'll show you some of the process along the way. Hopefully I won't be taking it. One of the things I want to do is make sure that the branches are darker than the leaves, or have some kind of contrast in how they're shaded. This is really not ideal for anybody that wants to actually do art right. I mean, it's okay, it's experimental, because I want to keep, of course, the bicycle in the channel. It is about the bicycle first, and the art is as important, but it comes second, because it's a cycling channel. I will say though, right now it's kind of stopped getting windy, but I've got a nice shady spot, which was really important when doing this episode. I hope y'all don't mind me being still on this bicycle as I shade along here. Interestingly enough, when I have something to draw, my thoughts are much more contained and controlled than they would be if I was just doing my Biking Blabbing episodes. Maybe that's because I'm focused. So now I've kind of come up with this idea of like where the leaves could be in this tree here. I miss John Prine a lot. I never really got to meet him, but he's weirdly a part of my childhood in a lot of ways, because my dad's buddy Dan really got me into his songs early in life, because he used to cover all of his stuff around the campfire when I was younger, when I would go camping. I still go camping, but Dan doesn't go anymore. And I kind of like that. I sort of like having an artist that was exposed to me by somebody else, and not only by somebody else, but somebody that my dad was kind of unfamiliar with. You know, it was more New Orleans music for my dad when I was growing up. Stuff like, you know, Marcia Ball, and not even just New Orleans music, but people like Little Feat. You know, all those were his sort of, all the things I got to hear when I was younger. I think it was cool, just, it's fun getting exposed to somebody by someone who's not a family member, because it makes you feel sort of unique. Because if you know about, the thing about, I think, finding out about an artist from a family member is there's the case of the rest of the family knows about that artist, so you don't feel as though you're in as a unique of a discovery as another family member. And the nice thing about having an artist be brought to you or exposed to you by a friend is that you can then share it with that artist with your family members who are unfamiliar with him. I will say though, my Facebook feed and Instagram feed have really blown, you know, just been tons and tons and tons of Prine. Of course, I've contributed to the Prineum, I guess. I don't know, the sort of condolences that have been given out. Jay Blakesberg has some great photos. I guess these are more like apples in a way. There's some sort of fruit in here. I thought they were leaves. See, here's what I've done so far. As you can see this. Kind of liking it. There's this sort of point when you start to draw where you're like, oh, I don't like this, and then as you continually go, you're like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I hope you like this idea, this kind of Bob Ross inspired video series. When in doubt, steal from somebody who's more famous than you, right? I'll never be Bob Ross. I don't really want to be Bob Ross, really. I don't really like nature stuff. I mean, I like watching him paint, and I learn a lot from him, but doing nature type things I prefer to draw people. Weirdly enough, I started this episode, the first episode of this series, I'm drawing something from nature and not drawing a person. But yeah, but I have a friend of mine who's the exact opposite. She prefers to draw nature scenes than people. She sees more in nature than she sees in people. I think I have more of an enjoyment, well, not sees more, but has more of an enjoyment artistically in drawing nature than people. I'm the exact opposite. I don't know if that's because I'm more of a people person than I am a nature person. I mean, I say that, but I run an Instagram account where all I do is take pictures of insects. So I don't know. But then again, I'm using the insects in an artistic, the whole purpose of that account is to use the insects in an artistic way, not so much to, you know, get the world to learn about insects and what wonderful creatures they are. Of course, I do want them to learn that too, but the primary reason is to do it artistically. So now I'm going to kind of work on these roots out here. I don't really know what my ground's going to look like. I know these are going to be roots and they're dark and whatnot. If you guys are artists on here and you like this channel, even though I only have 2 subscribers, but I don't know who's watching this at all, I hope that you enjoy drawing or painting. I don't really like to paint. I might talk about that now or later, but my problem with painting is I can't really, even though I've learned from Bob Ross to just like have happy accidents, I can't really fix most of my mistakes. I also don't like using the different types of brushes. I'd rather just have one tool to do all my shading and drawing with than having multiple tools. I don't know, that's one of the things I should probably try painting again now that I'm older, now that I've sort of watched Bob Ross's videos. Maybe my opinions on painting will change too. I took some art classes when I was younger. I really liked art when I was in elementary school. Didn't really do much of it in middle school because I didn't really have an art course. Interestingly enough, art sort of, now that I think about it, art has kind of skipped back and forth with me. I've done art in elementary school, high school, didn't do it in college, and now doing it after college. It's weird. It's like the yin yang. It really got me out of an unhappy state, I think. maybe one of the things you can do while you're in quarantine is take up art. I think it's a lot better than starting a podcast or doing a video series. Even though I'm doing a video series while in quarantine, so maybe I'm not the best person to listen to. It's interesting using this notch here from the bicycle. I don't draw this side all that often, by the way. Just kind of basing in the ground. Some of these pieces as I go forward are no way going to be my best work. It's just something to do for a series of videos. Like I said, I think in a future video I will show stuff I'm really kind of proud of that I did. I got this piece I did in 8th grade that I mean, God, it took me... It's interesting I said I didn't really do much in middle school. I didn't really do much to my last year. I had a homeroom teacher that said, I want to enter some art in an art contest, so here, if you want to draw, go ahead. And it was nice because they gave me some kind of criticism on my piece. I didn't really win any awards or anything, but it was nice to get the criticism to see what they thought of my piece. And I think now would be a different... I think if I was going to submit something now, I'd have done something better. There was a kid that did like this snail piece, and he really cared about the... He really paid attention to texture and shading, and he did it all in black and white. He was really a fine artist. Again, I didn't like it, and that's funny. I didn't really like it at the time. I thought it was plain, and that's actually the other thing I wanted to talk about is I wasn't just color driven when I was younger. I was detail driven. My whole thing and aspect to art was just throw everything in the kitchen sink, and there is no such thing as filling up the piece too much. And now I think there is such a thing as filling up the piece too much. Like, see here, this could be the end of the piece. There doesn't have to be anything else in this field. Had I been younger, I would have put everything in the field, even things that don't belong. I probably will put, obviously, some more things in this field besides this tree, but I'm much more conscientious of and critical of myself to make sure I don't overdo the field. It's probably not the best tree you've ever seen drawn. That's okay. I'm fine with that. I'm not really, like I said, I don't really care about. I care about the technique a bit, but I don't know why I'm extending this tree. I think it's extended plenty. Maybe work on this sky now, as opposed to this field. Why is there only one tree? I guess since Prine passed, it might be a good idea to sort of add a gravestone. I think I'll add it off in the distance here. You know, the funny thing about sort of drawing something and having somebody who passed away in mind is it's a bit overwhelming. Of course, this piece isn't really dedicated to him. He's just in mind while I'm drawing it, I guess. It's a bit overwhelming because you're sort of worried about, will people think this is an appropriate thing to draw? Will people think that, you know, did I do a good enough job? Did I try hard enough? And usually I wouldn't care about something like that, but because it's somebody who passed away, it's different. You care because you want to make sure that, you know, his memory is, the person who passed did sort of inspire the piece in some way, shape, or form. I know the tree's a bit of a stretch to say that Prine inspired that. That's why I'm sort of changing what I'm doing here. It's the first time I've really raced in all the time I've been working on this piece, which is odd because usually I race more. I wonder if any of you have ever drawn something because of somebody passing, and if you feel overwhelmed as I do when doing it because you don't feel like it's an appropriate thing to do. Maybe I shouldn't give her a face, or give it a face. I was thinking about it, but now I'm kind of on the fence about it. No, let's not. Let's fade that hand. The woman's in the distance, so you don't necessarily have to see her hand. In that case, I guess you don't really have to see her face either, which would actually make my life a lot easier. I guess I'm doing a bit of a cop-out here. Interestingly enough, when Prine was in the ICU, everybody was sort of posting songs about him last week. Or not about him, songs that he wrote, rather. I had a friend of mine who I found out he was a John Prine fan by that method, and it really surprised me because the reason he's a friend of mine is because of a completely different other sort of interest in world. And to find out he was a John Prine fan was a bit of a surprise. Nice to have my sort of music world and this other world sort of combined, the other world being fandom. I'll talk more about what that is later in some other video. Might even do a piece inspired by it. I don't know why I'm being so secretive and generic, but I am, just for the hell of it. I think I want to put a hole in this tree. Maybe for even creative reasons, some kind of music note coming out of it. So this is where I'm getting really into my style of art. So when I add these music notes here, as you can see, that's what I've come up with so far. I think I'm almost close to being done with it. I might actually want to add music notes to the other side of a hole. And I don't know why, I just want to do kind of quarter notes. Have that one come out upside down, obviously. I don't really work in digital art much. I really wanted to talk about this on a different video. but I don't really work in digital art. I'm very much a sketch and draw on paper kind of person. I think I want to stay that way too, because so many people nowadays don't sketch as much as they used to. Or they do it digitally, which is a lot easier. I've done digital sort of sketches or digital kind of art via Instagram, which I know is not necessarily doing it on a art tablet, but still, it's a lot easier. You can get your faces more proportional and your body's more proportional and all this kind of stuff, and it just seems a lot easier. Shit. I might be out of lead here. Maybe one or two things. Okay, good. I was really worried I was going to be having to finish the piece and say goodbye. I'll cut a crack in the gravestone because I can. Yeah, I really wanted to do something with the sky here. I might actually just see it a little bit over here. That way it's not entirely all white. By over here I meant in the right corner of the paper. I'm sorry if I don't show enough of this piece as I'm working on it. This is what I'm working on right now, this sort of sky idea. So I'm a bit silent now, and now this is kind of needs to have a commentary type approach to it where I talk a lot. You can't just have me sit here and sketch and be quiet. That's no fun for you as a viewer. Listening to the sound of my pencil just across the page. Maybe I'll make this a hill. Maybe it won't be a sky, it'll be a hill. That'd make my life a lot easier than making it a hill. Now I get to even use my Bob Ross approach more and make houses and trees and things. Not approach, but take Bob Ross into consideration more. There will be an episode where I don't necessarily do nature things and won't be talking about Bob Ross so much, and I'll maybe even come back with an idea in mind. But I don't think that's fair to you guys that I just start a video with an idea in mind, because you guys should be able to watch me conceive of the idea as I draw it. If you just watch me work on something that I have an exact idea for in my head, then I feel like you've missed out on something, and that's not fair to you as a viewer. This should be as open as possible in terms of the creativity. I was looking at some Johnny Winters interviews recently, and on Carson. He's a very talented artist. It's surprising how many people who are talented artists but became famous in other fields. I really like all of his surrealist pieces. He really sort of has the same kind of approach that Bob Ross does, that the piece can mean whatever you want it to be, and that it should be very, not stressful. Just kind of took one of the staffs, the music notes here, and made it a bit darker. Gonna make a couple of the other staffs a bit darker. Maybe for just inner sake. Oh yeah, there's an idea. I sort of didn't really care about the fact that I was drawing within the already shaded area, because I'm going to darken the guitar anyways. Oh, by the way, I just drew a guitar. I guess the way to draw a guitar first is to do the body and then the neck, because at least the body can, once you have the two, and don't connect each side of the body, let the neck make the connections so it doesn't look disproportionate. Again, the guitar, of course, is keeping Prine in mind. Of course, because it's pencil, I can erase part of the hill and actually have it be lighter, so the fret head can be a different shade than the neck. Or I shouldn't say the fret head, but just the head in general. If you're enjoying John Prine like I did, I'd like to see what your favorite song is below. I always remembered as a kid liking Fish and Whistle a lot. It'd also be nicer to do these episodes when I'm not having such a sad piece based on such a sad occurrence. I don't know, maybe having the piece be based on a sad occurrence or inspired by a sad occurrence makes the episode more moving to you. In that sense, great. Come back and make sure to subscribe. No, but seriously, regardless, do make sure to subscribe to this channel for more drawing videos, and of course more biking and blabbing. I don't know, I think this is more respectful to do than drawing him outright. If I'm drawing somebody outright, that's when the real criticism begins. Well, you didn't draw this person, you didn't draw him right. And it's like, ugh. Don't want to go through that. It's no fun. I don't need or want the Jerry Saltz experience. Spirit. I wasn't going to do something as deliberate as drawing a guitar, but it's exactly what I did. See if I can make this head darker than the neck. I'll show you the guitar once I'm done. Make sure these frets are circled dark enough. There we go. I think the framing looks nice enough. It is interesting, the way I drew this sort of feels like the guitar is mourning the person at the grave as well. By the way, even though this is sort of John Prine inspired, this doesn't have to be John Prine at the grave. It could be anybody. I keep saying inspired, it's the wrong word. Influence is probably better. Because I don't know, inspired would be like, there's 900 song references in the piece, so it's so obvious that it's a piece representing his music. When it's actually not. It just is what it is. I'm just sort of fold the paper. Oh, I told you I'd actually show you what I've done. This is where I've come to. I hope you like the guitar. I was thinking about putting something up on this here hill. I don't really know what that will be. It'll be something. Maybe a cross since it's Easter week? No. Forget I said that. I don't know, something should be here. Gotta figure out what it is. Happy Easter and Passover to those who are celebrating. I certainly am not, but for those who are, goodies for you. I used to celebrate Easter, but now it's like it's really not a topic for the YouTubes, frankly. Falling out is probably the closest I can actually talk about it. Without sort of offending and or losing followers. Ugh, I'm not really happy with that. That is not something I'm happy with. Thank God for erasers. Oh, this house is disproportionate. What was gonna do with that? To do it, that's actually probably the most salvageable way. sure it's still playing. I'm rolling with the house even though I'm not happy with the house. Frankly. This will go out in light of a Biking Blabbing episode. Just as an FYI. I think after I finish this house, I'm going to be done with this piece. Even though I like to draw, I'm not really here to teach people how to draw. Just to sort of draw and entertain you in the process. At the very least, inspire. I wouldn't really want you to draw along with what I'm drawing anyways, considering that I don't really have, all I started off with was a tree. And I went from there. I'm using a mechanical pencil, a freaking piece of copy paper, which, a lot of sketchbooks are like, why would you use a piece of copy paper? Use something else. I always use copy paper. I was thinking as I get further and further into this series of drawing videos that I would get a sketchbook from Michael's, which the purpose would be specifically this channel. I have to look at the paper. I don't have to be lighter paper. I have an empty sketchbook now, but it's like I want to use that for sketching more detailed and thought out pieces. Pardon the guy mowing the lawn. You like?
Yeah?
You like?
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of started with this tree and went all the way from there.
Okay.
I didn't really plan anything out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I had a musician in mind when drawing this, who passed away this week.
Oh, okay.
So
That's good.
oh,
Okay.
thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
See you later. She probably doesn't know she'll be YouTube famous, but whatever. Maybe she'll find out after the fact. Add some smoke, I guess, just for the hell of it. I drew a chimney, by the way, just so everybody knows before I show. I'm trying to think about when I sign this, what I'm going to sign it as. I think I'm going to sign it as Cycling Mike instead of signing it as my real name. Makes the piece feel more unique that way. There's some good drawing channels on YouTube that are actually there to teach you how to draw and sort of experiment with art. I'll let you know about those in the next episode. Anyway, just need more chimney work here. I don't really want any windows. There probably needs to be a window, but I don't want any windows. Everybody in there is going to suffocate. Oh, it's just a shed. Probably just a shed attached to a house which you can't see. Because I didn't bother drawing the house. That's a damn big shed, though. Or maybe it's a barn. Frankly, I just don't know. It's a house-like structure. That's as far as you're going to go with that. Wouldn't be necessarily kind of me to draw a structure if you would suffocate. I don't really want anybody to die in here, but I just don't want to be bothered drawing a window. I guess that's all we're going to do today. Possibly. Yeah. So this is the chimney in the house that I just finished. And I think with that, I'm going to work on this hill just a little bit more. I'm going to give it space between. That's actually one of the things that Bob Ross already taught me is layering, so that way it gives the piece depth. I had a guy who asked me if Bob Ross was doing it now, and I didn't really appreciate that because I'm like, no, that's not. I don't do things like that. I don't do things that are in the. I don't watch people because they're in the now. I watch people because I like certain things, and I watch people that interest me. I'm not into trends. Bob Ross is not a 2020 trend. Bob Ross is Bob Ross, and you like him because you draw, not because. Or because you paint, or maybe you just like him because it's got great ASMR. But most people that watch him are people that want to learn how to paint better, and I think that's where you should be. I don't think you should be this. It shouldn't be this trendy thing on TikTok or Instagram. Even if it makes him more popular. If it makes him popular and people aren't painting or drawing, then what's the point? But if it makes him if it's popular and people are painting and drawing because of him, then there's a nice big point, and he's done what he was meant to do in this world. I wish he was more famous though while he was alive. He wasn't just some PBS painter. Although that being said, I do still think he should have been keeping the joy of painting going on PBS. I think more celebrity should have come with that. Although maybe since there wasn't as much celebrity, maybe that's why I enjoyed doing the show more, because he didn't get as much of a celebrity out of it. Maybe if he had gotten more celebrity, he would have stopped the show, and it wouldn't have gone for over 20 plus years. I don't know, you let me know what you think about Bob Ross. What do you think of the joy of painting? There's also some of his DVD videos on YouTube. Everything I've watched has been on YouTube. But I heard that some joy of painting episodes were on Netflix. Anyways, I don't really know what to call this series. I'm not going to call it The Joy of Drawing because that would be such a rip-off of Bob Ross. It's not even funny, and I'm not Bob Ross. Or his kid, or any sort of artist that's even close to his abilities. But I'll call it something. If I don't come up with a good title in the title of this video, then leave me your thoughts below. Or leave me your thoughts below, and I might even change the title of it for next episode. Anyways, as I just sort of finish up this hill, just to sort of shade it even more. Doesn't really need more, but I'm shading it in more. Ooh, let me darken this out here. I hope you enjoyed my first little drawing that I've done for this channel. Didn't really imagine it would turn out this way. I don't like it. Ooh, maybe there's one up here. Yeah, what the hell. Usually keep shadowing in mind, you gotta shadow this guy. I took the shadow of the woman and the grave into consideration, but not anything else. So my last piece would be shadowing the house. That was something I didn't do as a kid either, was put shadows on things. Which I realize now makes art flat when there's no shadows. It's sort of nice having a construction worker come by and look at the art. Probably gave a lot of enjoyment to their day. Or not really a construction worker, but somebody doing the lawn or in their development. That's good. They'll get to tell their spouse and loved ones about the fact they saw some kid drawing on a bicycle one day and that they were really good at what they were doing. It's nice. If I made somebody's day happy with art, that's a good thing. Maybe they'll try their hand at drawing by seeing what I've done. Will they be alright? I love how I said I'm almost done and I just redone it for the house and then I just go ahead and just shade the hell out of everything. Okay. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's your completed piece right there. I hope you like it. If you don't, I'm sorry. But that's what I came up with for today. Hopefully next time you'll join me and enjoy whatever I draw down. Hopefully it won't be another tree, it'll be something different. I might look at my pieces that I did previously before I do the next piece and sort of think about, okay, last time I did a tree and this time I'll do something different. So, until then, see you all later. I'll just like sort of sketch as I say I'm done. Okay, now I'm really done. Thank you all so much for joining me this episode, for episode 1 of this drawing series. And I'll see you maybe next week. Maybe I'll take 2 weeks off of biking and blabbing, or even more, just to do this drawing series. Biking and blabbing will be back though. So until then, see you again next time. So long for now. Oh, hang on. I'm not done yet. I have one last thing I have to do. I should have signed it, but I didn't really remember how to do the cursive C. I'll have to learn how to do that. I do know how to sign my name, but I'll have to look up how to do the cursive next time. So long for now.